Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Everyday Magic with Jess. I was not going to record or post a video today. I'm still in my robe, I'm having my coffee, and I was just called this morning to just kind of allow myself to dive into one of the gene keys this morning. And I am so lit up by what I am reading that I had to get on here and share. It is the perfect articulation and puts sense, or maybe I should say makes sense of so much that I have not only been feeling, but have also been trying to articulate in my own way. So I want to dive into this. And if you aren't familiar with the Gene Keys book, highly recommend, okay? Richard Rudd. And Richard Rudd invites us to use the Gene Keys book as like a contemplation. So what he describes is this is not like we're reading it from cover to cover. It's really like leaning into something that you're feeling called to. Oftentimes, I kind of use it like I would oracle cards or tarot cards, and I just kind of allow myself to choose a page and see whatever wants to unfold. And I think that again, that's why like this is just so magical this morning, and I have to dive in. So I'm going to read some of this to you. I'm going to provide some of my own interpretation around this, some of my own experience. I hope you stick with me because I think that there's just like so much like goodness and juice, and I am just so fascinated. And it's also, so I'm recording this on a Friday. This whole week, the videos that I have posted are like a culmination to this video, to this gene key. And I've never read this gene key before. And part of me wishes that I would have almost like read it live because my mind was just continuously blown. And I don't know, it would have been probably interesting to look back on, but you can still see my energy and my excitement for this. Okay, let's go. All right, so this is the 35th gene key. It's called Wormholes and Miracles. And the shadow of this gene key is hunger. The gift is adventure. And the city is boundlessness, okay? Shadow, the hunger of the species. There is a perpetual and innate hunger built into all human beings. This hunger operates on many different levels within your being and is caused by the chemistry generated by the 35th shadow as it is refracted through your DNA. The classic translation for this 35th hexagram of the I Ching is the word progress, which is very apt since the 35th gene key drives all human progress. At the shadow frequency, progress is expressed as outer evolutionary progress, embodied, for example, in humanity's recent technological revolution. True progress, however, has little to do with physical manifestations and everything to do with the progress of human awareness. In a nutshell, what the 35th shadow does is divert true progress out into the world of form, thus sacrificing its potential to transform the inner structure of humanity itself. Thus, because of this shadow, the outer world evolves at the expense of the inner, right? And we can see this everywhere around us, right? Like we're thinking of this idea of progress as something outside of ourselves, trying to manifest things outside of ourselves. Okay, this is where it gets super fascinating for me. And I'm going to try to skim so I don't read this entire thing, but bear with me. Again, it's so good. It's so juicy. All right. Through its associated amino acid, tryptophan, the 35th gene key is connected to the secretion of serotonin within the body. Serotonin is well known as a chemical that induces states of satiation and deep fulfillment. Okay, right? Like that's what we're all longing for, this deep fulfillment that most of us have not found, that most of us again, are looking outside of ourselves to find, right? We're trying to manifest things in the physical. We get the job, we get the promotion, we get the fancier car, we get the bigger house, we get, and like we still don't feel that satisfaction, that fulfillment that we're longing for. As a result of the interference from the shadow frequency passing through this codon, serotonin production within the body is inhibited, leaving human beings with a perpetual feeling of hunger, right? Again, we all have experienced this in our life. Some of us are still experiencing this. I'm sure many of us, right? So you get it. This deep unrest within the human body drives human beings out into the world to try to find something that can bring an end to what is essentially genetic hunger. This hunger drives all human experience from drugs, food, and sex, all which may increase serotonin levels briefly, to business, religion, science, and even war. However, no matter how you try to satiate your hunger in the outer world, it will never be enough. Our fate is sealed by this 35th shadow because no external crutch or method can ever replace the natural balanced chemistry of your own body. Okay? And I love it. Goes into the fifth shadow of impatience is the programming partner to this 35th shadow, and it operates alongside hunger, pulling you away from your natural internal rhythm with life, right? And I'm like just constantly feeling that for myself, where I'm just wanting to be even more attuned to the natural rhythms, the natural flows that we are all a part of, right? It is your very impatience that fuels your hunger, and your hunger that fuels your impatience. A classic biofeedback loop that keeps human beings operated at the shadow frequency. All external human progress, particularly in modern times, has come about because of this 35th shadow. We are a hungry and unfulfilled species. We don't know what we want, but we want it now, right? Like, oh my, how many of you can relate to that? It's just so good. It's so true. It is important to understand that this endless wave of hunger in human beings is not an individually programming function of your genetics. It is universal to our whole species, driving us outwards to explore and conquer the world around us without a thought to the consequences. I mean, hello, modern day society. Hello, society that we are currently living to. Like, if that's not the truest thing I've ever heard, I'm just going to say it one more time. It is universal to our whole species, driving us outwards to explore and conquer the world around us without a thought to the consequences, right? We are so hungry. We are looking for that fulfillment. We are looking outside of ourselves, right? Wreaking havoc in the process, right? And I may not mean you or me, but at some level we are, right? At some level we are contributing to that. This is what humanity is right now. When you are truly hungry, you cannot think about the consequences of eating. You are simply possessed by the urge to fill yourself, right? We think of consumerism, greed, doing things that we want, that we think that we're deserving of, without thinking of the consequence to other people, to this planet, right? To humanity as a whole, right? And again, all of us are guilty of that in some level. And again, this is not like a blame game, or not saying this to make anyone feel like guilty or shame. It's just bringing awareness to it, right? One of the great destructive aspects of the 35th shadow is seen each time you have temporarily filled yourself up. The moment you are full, you slowly begin to feel empty again. And so the cycle continues, right? It says, it is because of this basic pattern of disappointment and blame that the human spirit is unable to find lasting peace. The destructive tendency spoken of above comes about through your identification with the object or person that promises your fulfillment. You become addicted to it. You destroy a part of yourself since you cease to grow. If you blame your disappointment on another, you tend to want to destroy that other, whether it is a person, a religion, or a drug, right? And those are three things that they list, but again, the list goes on. It is fascinating that so much of our modern society, with all of its good points and its bad points, has been created due to a basic chemical imbalance within the human brain. Everything in life occurs for a reason. I, of course, know that and tout that. Modern science has now even identified that low levels of serotonin in the body lead to states of depression and craving. What science doesn't realize is that almost all human beings have low levels of serotonin because what scientists are taking as the norm is really the shadow frequency, right? This shadow frequency of hunger. The great dilemma of the 35th shadow is that any attempt you make to raise your level of serotonin production from the outside fuels the hunger even more. If, for example, you take a pill that increases serotonin, you may experience for a brief period what the higher frequencies feel like, but such an experience makes you hungrier still, and thus all kinds of problems are created. The only way to redress the basic chemical imbalance within the 35th gene key is to make the leap out of the shadow frequency altogether. It's to make the leap out of hunger, right? It's to satiate ourselves once and for all, right? So how do we do that? I'm going to get there. This means you must first understand your chemical dilemma, and then you must face it with every fiber of your being. It is your awareness of the problem that will finally break the grip of the shadow frequency. You must enter so deeply into your genetic craving that it breaks its power over you. You cannot discipline yourself out of this problem, right? People are like, I'm just going to be more disciplined, and I'm not going to drink, and I'm not going to do the things, right? You have to dive right into it. Okay? As you turn to face your humanity and your hunger, you will see how helplessly you are held hostage by it. You will see how it subtly drives all of your actions in the world. Only when you see how trapped you are by this chemistry, does a new sense of freedom begin to rise up within you. Again, it's, the way to get on the other side of something is we go right through it, right? We got to stop running from the fears, stop running from the things, stop running from the resistance itself, and dive straight in. You stop the energy from moving out into the world and drive it back inside. This is where the leap occurs. This is an inner crossing over within your awareness, and the great adventure of the 35th gift awakens you to a new level of awareness. Okay, so the repressive nature of this is bored. I'm not going to dive into it. I know we can all, recognize boredom. The reactive nature is manic, right? You're too busy to be bored. I mean, can you see this in your own life? Can you see this in the collective? Can you see this amongst people around you? I see this everywhere. And I think yesterday I mentioned some of this in my video around tapping into your feminine radiance and feminine magnetism. And I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but it's like this understanding, or how I want to interpret this, and how, I have really connected to this even prior to reading this today, is we are all like exhausted and depleted. And it's because of this hunger that we are chasing, right? We are bored because we are not feeling the satisfaction and the fulfillment that we are longing for, yet we don't know how to access it. Or we're going about it in a completely, in the completely wrong way. And that's what we're going to get into. And this is, oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay. Just feeling good. All right. Okay. So now, whether you're, familiar with Gene Keys or not, right? We're talking about the shadow, we talk about the gift, we talk about the city. So moving out of the shadow phase, we move into the gift phase if we are lucky enough. And I'm sharing this to support you in doing the work, to support you in moving into the gift phase for you, right? To transform this. The 35th gift, adventure. I mean, again, when you think of being bored or unfulfilled or like distracting yourself from in the way of busyness, right? Like this manic state of you, what are you longing for? I know that I can feel this like with every ounce of my being. It's adventure. It's like this spirit of life. It's connection to something bigger. And I just love that this gene key is just like, yeah, this is why you feel that way. So let me read it for you, okay? The only progress is love, right? And again, I talk about that connection to the love within, and love being pure consciousness, love being whatever higher power or word for higher power resonates with you. And that lives within us. And when we are connected to that love and we allow ourselves to move through life connected to that love, allowing the love to move us, to move through us in the way that we uniquely and individually are meant to, right? Like the way that our soul is meant to in this lifetime, in this season of our life, today, in this moment, right? Like that is the thing. Okay. To break through the hunger barrier is to break into the heart. Always go within, always connect to the heart. What is the heart calling you to do? What are the longings on your own heart? It's like I say it a freaking thousand times. The hallmark of the gift the hallmark of the gift frequency is that it always involves love. Love is the only force that can bring an end to the hunger of the 35th shadow. Love. That's it. Love. With love, serotonin production is increased and stabilized within the chemistry of the human brain. With love, the energy stored within the 35th shadow is released into the human being instead of being squandered in the world. Such an implosion of energy finally allows the inner human being to evolve rather than only the world outside us. For humanity, progress means you have to evolve in your awareness. And your next step beyond mental awareness is to leap into the higher awareness of the heart. Okay, I've posted videos this week around different astrological transits. And again, this is, oh my gosh, it's just blowing my mind. And I know that obviously you're not inside my head and like how all these like little things are clicking and it's wild and it may not be quite as insane for you, but I hope you're getting something from my own excitement around this. But right now we are shifting into a time where it's really about going inward, right? The astrological transits that are happening, it's about connecting to the mystic within, right? Like really feeling that sacred connection. And yes, over the past 150 plus years, we've had so many external technological advancements, and we will continue to. But isn't it fascinating that it's almost like we need humanity to like come back to its humanness. And it's almost like we need it to come back to its humanness through spirit, right? Like through its own connection to spirit, through its own connection to the sacred within. And that is what is needed to evolve humanity. It's like we've put so much focus on the external evolution that we've forgotten what we're actually here for, right? And now it's like we are being invited to do that for the greater good of all, right? For our own evolution. And it's just beautiful. Okay, I'm going to keep going. What we are referring to as the heart actually has its roots within the complex ganglia of the solar plexus system. It is through a higher functioning of your solar plexus that you can experience what love truly is. Love has nothing to do with another separate person, but is the connective tissue underlying all creation. Once the solar plexus has evolved its higher genetic functioning, a process described in depth in the 55th gene key, and that is significant because I referenced the 55th gene key again earlier this week on a video, which I haven't talked about gene keys in forever, but I felt called to do that. The 55th gene key, the shadow is victimization, and the gift in the city are both freedom, right? Like when we get out of our victim mentality, we will be free. The collective will be free. Humanity will be free, okay? Love becomes a reality that you live inside. What most human beings currently view as love is the brief fulfillment of the hunger of the 35th shadow by means of an outer stimulus or person, a distant hint of what love really means. Once the frequency of the 35th gift has been raised, then all human progress finally turns inwards instead of outwards, like I just said. The final frontier of the human hunger for adventure does not lie outside of us, but within our very nature and being, right? Go within, go within, go within. It is not outer space we long to explore, but inner space. And then this is so fascinating to me. The 35th gene key stands alone as an island within the human genome since it is formed by only one codon, which activates the amino acid tryptophan. Again, I'm not a biologist. I apologize if I'm not getting some of these words, the pronunciation correctly. In this sense, the 35th gene key is similar to the 41st gene key, which represents the initiator codon that begins all human genetic process. However, the 35th gene key does not hold such genetic importance as the 41st gene key. This makes it something of an anomaly, and an anomaly in genetics always conceals a mystery, okay? The mystery of the 35th gift is captured in its name, the gift of adventure. Like the 41st gene key, it is an aspect within humanity waiting for a specific time before it switches on. Okay, yet, unlike the 41st gene key, the ability to switch certain genes on and off does not always lie outside your grasp. The 35th gift is the only place within all human DNA that human beings have a choice in how their reality is constructed. Okay? The 35th gift is the only place within all human DNA that human beings have a choice in how their reality is constructed. Right? As you can imagine, this is quite an important codon within human evolution. Okay? So this is so fascinating to me. It says, the 35th gift, then, humans can indeed influence their own destiny by influencing their DNA. The secret is adventure, and true adventure can only be based upon love. Adventure is what happens when the human spirit breaks free of the mind. Adventure is not yet immersion in that oneness, but it is what it feels like to swim within that oneness. Oneness cannot be known mentally, even though it can be logically deduced. Oneness can only be felt when enough serotonin is produced within our bodies. It is not simply a matter of pumping more serotonin into your body that creates the experience of higher frequencies. Serotonin is only one link in a whole chain of interconnected chemicals that are secreted within the laboratory of the body. Higher consciousness comes about due to the delicate balance of these chemicals in highly specific quantities and cocktails. So exact and finely tuned is this balance inside each person that it can only come about through a natural and organic process. This is the great adventure that you take as the 35th gift arises in your inner being. You enter a process of alchemical co-creation within your own body. As you raise your own consciousness through love, these delicate chemical matrices begin to spontaneously form within your physiology. It is a natural evolutionary process of refining and distilling your inner essences through the endocrine system. Okay? To live with an open heart is to live in a perpetual state of adventure. To live in an open heart. To live with an open heart is to live in a perpetual state of adventure, right? Adventure means there's still fear inside of you. There's still some fear inside of you, but you have reached a frequency that you know is high enough to outwit that fear. Every human being has a choice to take a path of love. That is the mystery of the 35th gift. Progress can be made if you are ready to take the great leap and risk it all for the sake of love. Of course, for most people, the fear of the shadow frequency is too great, and they are caught in the endless cycle of trying to fulfill their cravings. However, every now and then, a human being takes a momentous step into the 35th gift where they discover a wormhole to another dimension. When you give to another unconditionally, you actually stimulate the secretion of serotonin. This is not only what makes you feel happy, but also induces a deep state of trust that you are in harmony with the entire universe. Okay? I'm just kind of skimming really quick. It also gives others a moment of pause when they are forced to look at themselves and their lives in the mirror of your action. Okay? I'm gonna pause there because I want to. It says, if you take on this adventure, you will actually affect the minute workings of your DNA. You will stimulate new chemical messages to pass from gene to gene, and you will enter a whole new world of adventure, one that most people equate with the world of fantasy. All right, guys, I can't say for sure that I have achieved the gift of adventure, but most days I feel like I have. And it just it feels freaking good, but that doesn't matter. I want to talk about this idea of love and really, again, going within, connecting to the sacred within, connecting to spirit within, connecting to God within, connecting to whatever resonates with you, and then moving from that place of love. Here, Richard Rudd speaks specifically about kind of giving freely of your love, right? To a family member, to a friend, to humanity, to strangers, to your kids, whatever that means, right? Giving your love freely to another person. Yes, that is a beautiful way. And of course, he's talking about this. He's the expert to access this. But I want to take it kind of a step further because sometimes that's like a hard angle to get at. And I also believe that love is bigger, is more encompassing, is not just about like what we think of love to or for another person, right? Again, when you go within and you connect to that higher being, that higher power within you, and you connect to your heart, right? You connect to the longings on your heart, the desires on your heart. Maybe you don't even know what they are, but you feel this longing, right? The shadow. We feel this hunger. We feel this desire for fulfillment, but we don't know what that is. If you can go deep enough and connect to like, what am I really longing for? How do not, maybe you can't even get to how do. Maybe you can simply sit in your heart space, or sit like in your abdomen space. Connect to those areas and connect to, how am I meant to serve? Right? And this goes for each and every one of us. It doesn't matter like if you think you're a leader or a visionary, or I don't know, a healer, it doesn't matter, right? We all are here to serve in our own unique way. And that is like our own gift, and it's beautiful and it's absolutely perfect. So asking, maybe connecting to your higher self, how am I meant to serve right now? How am I meant to serve today? How am I meant to serve in this season of my life? If I can connect to the highest vision of myself, how am I here to serve, right? When you are connected to that state of love, and you connect it to this idea of service, that is love. That is how we share our love. That is how we give our love, right? It's like moving from that connection, moving from a place of love. Like, again, how does the love want to move through our bodies? And it shows up differently for all of us. Maybe for you, I'm a mom, so it's like very easy. For me, I just want to pour love onto my kids and my husband, and just be like the best version of like a mom and partner I can be, and I don't know, create a home that they just love and that feels safe, right? That's one aspect of that for me. I have many others. This is also how I share my love, right? Like through my, I don't know, enthusiasm for this. Enthusiasm literally is like of God, right? Like I feel so deeply called and connected to share these messages. That is another way to share that love, right? The more we can do that, the more we can give ourselves permission to, first we have to connect, first we have to go within, and then give ourselves permission to kind of show up in the world in whatever way we feel called, even when it doesn't make logical sense, even when it feels scary, even when we're like, that's not how I was taught or told or expected to like show up in this world, right? It's like connecting to that love is like also having trust. It's also believing so deeply in not just your own mission, but believing so deeply in a higher power, and that we are all connected, and that you are just like a very important thread in this greater tapestry that we are all part of. Giving yourself permission to believe that, and it's like even bigger than believing, it's owning it through your action. It's owning it by saying yes and taking action and doing it. Whatever that looks like to you, trusting it, okay? And that's the adventure, right? There's so much joy and freedom and liberation that comes when you kind of let go and you surrender and you trust that, again, whatever is coming up for you, whatever way you're being called in this moment, in this season to show up, when you trust that that's just what you're supposed to do, okay? Maybe it means like you're meant to, move to a farm and have an animal rescue. I would love to do something like that. I don't know if I'm exactly called to have an animal rescue, but that's just coming up for me, right? Like there are so many things that we have these deep desires, yet the mind is like, that's a silly idea. That's a crazy idea. But if it is coming up for you in a way where there is like a deep longing for that, a deep desire for that, and you're like, oh, I would just love to do that, but, right? Let go of the but. Trust that you're being called to do this. I was at the coffee shop this morning waiting for my order, and I was listening, not purposely, but I just couldn't help but overhear this conversation, around me. And this guy was talking about this woman was kind of helping him see other opportunities. And this man she was talking to, I just kept hearing, but, like, I could do this, but I could do that, but this could happen, but let's let go of the but, right? And this is so beautiful, because this leads into the city of this 35th gene key, which is boundlessness. Boundlessness, a back door into bliss. It says, if you read every one of the 64 gene keys, you will gradually begin to realize that written into the structure of human DNA is a great evolutionary plan in which humanity will eventually transcend the human form itself. Okay, all individuals, families, racial groups, and gene pools are caught up within the master plan, which appears to have its own hidden timing. Yet within this master plan, the 35th gene key stands out as an anomaly. I love that. I love that it's an anomaly, and I found it today to read to all of you. As though the gods who designed the machine put a hidden shortcut through which any individual could bypass the laws of timing built into the machine itself. This is precisely what the 35th gene key is, a hidden wormhole that leads to a vast realm beyond our comprehension. It leads right to the heart of the 35th city, the city of boundlessness. Okay, I want to just scan for a second, because I don't want to, I know this video is getting long, and I know I'm super excited. There is nothing further, let's see, at the level of the 35th city, the fear is gone because you are gone. The adventure is over. Boundlessness is consciousness. There is nothing further one can say about this 35th city. However, one can say things about the 35th city from within the Maya of the mind. The 35th city of boundlessness has great pulling power, even as a concept. If you can entertain the concept of boundlessness in your daily life, then you are automatically drawing yourself away from the lower frequencies. Okay, what I love about this is when we think about when we think about the gene keys, it's like we're all in the shadow. We, transmute the shadow, move into the gift, and then ultimately move into the city. But what this is saying is we can access boundlessness, right? The idea of boundlessness. And it's almost like we can manifest it ourselves, right? We can simply entertain the idea of boundlessness in our daily life, and then you're automatically drawing yourself away from those lower frequencies, which organically and naturally moves you into the gift of adventure, and then ultimately the city of boundlessness. And I love this, because just like my example of the guy having conversation at the coffee shop, so many of this, and I do this myself. And again, right, there's no judgment. It's just awareness, and it's just we're learning and we're discovering ourselves. But what could we create when we let go of the word but, right? When we truly realize that we are connected to the infinite, all of everything, and in that infiniteness, anything is possible. There are no limitations, right? We only have limitations because the mind puts them there with that little tricky 3-letter word but, right? Very few human beings can handle the concept of boundlessness because it has a diffusing effect on your mind. It invites you to move. Sorry, I forgot to silence my computer here. It invites you to move out of your mind and into your heart. It is really the heart that knows no bounds, which is why consciousness is the same word as love, right? And I love this, like going into your heart, going into your heart, going into your heart, connecting to love, connecting to the consciousness within, right? Connecting to God, spirit, source, creator, again, whatever resonates with you. It is really the heart that knows no bounds, right? So if we can kind of live less and less from the mind, from the ego, and drop into our heart more and let us guide you. Again, I was just saying, like, what are those longings on your heart? What are the desires on your heart, right? They're not ego-based. They're not based in fear. They're based in truth. They're based in connection to love. They are there for a reason. They are your pathway to your own freedom, to your own joy, to your own abundance, to your own bliss, to your own peace. Okay? Along with its polarity, the fifth city of timelessness and the 35th city of form are the arc of the infinite. There are no boundaries to life, and there can be no beginning and no end. Okay. All right. Let me just, quickly scroll here again. No mind will ever solve the mysteries of the universe of time and space because mind is only a tiny facet within those mysteries. The heart, or what some people call the heart mind, is the only aspect within a human being that can unlock the mystery of boundlessness. So, what can the 35th city tell us? It can tell us only one thing, that pure, unconditional love can break all the laws of the cosmos. Pure, unconditional love can break all the laws of the cosmos. Whenever you taste even a fraction of this kind of love, anything becomes possible. So what does that mean? Connect to love. Connect to gratitude. Connect to any higher frequency that puts you in that state of love. And I'm saying this, maybe it'll help you, but for me, when I am connected to love, I am just like in awe. I was walking back from the coffee shop. It's a cloudy, rainy, dreary day. I felt like I could float home. I was just looking at the beauty of everything, even in this cloudy, dreary weather, right? The gray day. Didn't matter. I had a smile ear to ear. I was just feeling it. I was just connected, right? Because we inhabit a form and live in a world where magic seems impossible, and more human beings are turned away from the truth that anything in the universe is possible. Again, going back to one of my earlier videos this week, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. We have forgotten our truth. We have become disconnected from our truth. And again, the astrological transits are asking us to come home, to come back within, and again, feel the connection to spirit within ourselves. That is where the truth lies. That is where we find our own truth, okay? And don't let the seeming chaos and dysfunction of the world and the heaviness of the world distract you from finding your own truth. Okay? It's so easy to do, but we don't need that right now. We need you coming home to your own truth, and that is what will heal the world, and it will change your life. Okay? When the city of boundlessness enters the world, it allows consciousness to penetrate right into the heart of the matter, which bends the laws of matter. Such a citic being represents a shortcut through evolution itself, and many people can experience huge awakenings and miracles around such a being. As the single heart of the Ring of Miracles, the 35th city brings the miraculous into the world. It opens up all kinds of possibilities to those who allow their minds to become like a child's. Again, when I was reading this the first time, I'm just like, a light bulb went off, because another thing, I'm always like, just have curiosity, right? It's like having that childlike wonder and curiosity. And, a child isn't judging themselves. They're just curious. They're just moving through the day. Again, everything feels like an adventure, right? Going back to that gift. To the child, anything seems possible. This is the state of boundlessness. Can you imagine if you gave yourself permission, right? Earlier, what does it say? It says, if you even entertain the concept of boundlessness, if you even entertain the concept that anything is possible as you move through the day, anything is possible, right? It's like, here is you. And then there's this circle around you where everything is possible for you. And it's just like feeding you possibilities, and they're all perfect, right? Can you open yourself up to that, right? To activate such streams of miracles, you have to break free from the beliefs and limitations imposed on your mind by the world and those around you. Again, this is part of our evolution. So it's, if you can think of this idea where, it's so easy to think like we need to heal from all of the things that have happened to us up until this point, or we have all these things that we need to fix. I hate that. There's nothing we need to fix. This is part of human evolution, right? This is part of the collective evolution. Those things needed to happen. Those things needed to be there in order to transmute them, in order to change the makeup, right? In order to move into the gifts, in order to move into the city, right? That is the evolution. That is the process. That's just what we're all here for. The 35th city dispenses with all boundaries and limitations imposed by the mind. Okay. All right, this is going to be the last little part that I read. I know this has gone way too long. And for those of you who are still sticking around, thank you. I hope that this serves. I hope that this is activating something within you as well. Of all the 64 cities, perhaps with the exception of the 60th city, which I want to just go to the 60th because this is also, if I remember correctly, one of my favorites. Yes, I also talked about this one this week. This is basically all about the power of magic, okay? It's, again, I just can't make this stuff up. I talked about that in one of my earlier videos. Again, okay, whatever. I'm going to stop. Okay. The 35th city has but one purpose: to break the laws of form and to manifest miracles so that people can expand their awareness and open their hearts to a greater mode of being, okay? The cities are generally seen as a distraction along the path of liberation, but in the case of the 35th city, they are a natural manifestation of liberation itself, arising out of the state rather than preceding it. Simply to be in the presence of a true miracle is to open your eyes to a whole new horizon. It can change your life and open your heart in a single, mind-bending, reality-shattering experience. Since the 35th city also finds a strong connection to the 22nd city of grace, constantly talking about grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Grace will find you. Since it is grace that decides when, where, and to whom a miracle will occur. Okay? All right. It's a testament to the power of grace. All right, I'm gonna stop there. I mean, again, I hope you get something out of this. How can you move from a place of love? How can you choose, right? This is you having faith, right? Choosing to have faith. Like, it comes from your choice. It comes from your deeper desire to experience true freedom, true abundance, true peace, true joy. Doesn't exist outside of you. Go within, make the choice to create time for stillness, to create time for meditation. Connect to the love within, connect to the higher power that is within you, right? Pure consciousness, that is love. Now you're connected to that. Now, how are you moving from that point of connection? Where is that love calling you to move? Where is that love attracting your energy, right? Now that you're connected to this place, right? What are your intentions? What are you being attracted to? What, like, a new level of clarity, something just different might now come into your focus. Trust that. Trust that that is where you're being called, right? Taking the breadcrumbs. And as you do this, continuing to let go of fear, continuing to trust. It's not like you do one step after another. It's just like this continuous cycle that happens, right? So continuing to trust, continuing to connect, continuing to pick up the breadcrumbs and just move, right? Being open to the boundlessness available to you, right? There are no limitations, only those you put on yourself, all right? And have curiosity and give yourself grace. It's just like, it's such a beautiful encapsulation, I feel like, of, gosh, everything I've been thinking and feeling and saying. And I can't believe I haven't read this Gene Key, but of course I haven't, because I needed to read it today and then share it with all of you. So again, I am sending you so much love. I am sending you, I don't know, so much energy, so much grace, so much healing, so just whatever you need in this moment, okay? Take care of yourselves. Try to not let the heaviness of the world distract you from your real work, okay? Your own evolution. We need you. We need you connecting and remembering the truth of who you are and the power that you have, especially when you're connected to that truth. All right, again, sending you so much love. Thank you for being here. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if this resonated with you. Send me a comment. At least let me know where you're tuning in from. Again, thank you all. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon.